Okay, so today we are going to be learning about how to solve two-step equations. So our objective today is I can solve a two-step equation. Now, when solving equations, our goal is to always isolate the variable. That means we want to get the variable alone. We know we are finished solving the equation if we have the variable equals to a number. Okay. In order to solve two-step equations, the model we're going to follow is the backwards orders of PEMDAS. So we have parentheses, exponents, multiplying, dividing, adding, subtracting. So for solving equations, you start with adding, subtracting, and then you work your way up for the backwards order of PEMDAS. When solving equations, we are going to be using opposite operations. So as you already know, the opposite of addition is subtraction, and the opposite of subtraction is addition. The opposite of multiplication is division, and the opposite of division is multiplication. Something new that you may not know is the opposite of a square root is the exponent square. Okay, so the opposite of a square root is the exponent 2, which is square. Opposite operations. Let's go ahead and get started with example 1. So to start off, we want to make sure we read the equation with all of the operations. So this equation says -4 plus 5 times v equals -104. So remember, whenever there's a number next to a variable, that operation there is multiplication. Okay, so we're going to do PEMDAS backwards. So is anything being added or subtracted first? Now, you look here, you would think, oh, it says plus 5v. But remember, this is 5 times v. So multiplication and division comes second. So we want to start with this -4. So what is the opposite of a -4? The opposite of -4 is +4. So we're going to add 4 to both sides. So when we add 4 to both sides, our 4's cancel. Bring down 5 times v. Bring down your equal. -104 plus 4 is -100. Okay, so the adding and subtracting, check. We did that part. Now, we have 5 times v equals -100. So remember, the opposite of times is division. So divide both sides by 5. And we get v equals -20. We're going to go ahead and box that answer. There we go. First equation done. Multiplication and division. Check, check. Two-step equations. Now, example 2. Example 2 is read the equation. Remember, we're doing PEMDAS backwards. So we have 4 equals x divided by 16 plus 3. So we're first going to start with whatever's been added or subtracted. So we have here plus 3. The opposite of plus 3 is -3. So subtract 3 from both sides. When we do that, the 3's cancel. 4 minus 3 is 1. 1 equals, bring down x divided by 16. So then the next thing we want to look for is multiplication or division. So x divided by 16, the opposite of divide is to multiply. I normally use parentheses to indicate multiplication. That's what parentheses means. So 16 times 1 is 16 equals x, because when you multiply, that cancels. We're going to go ahead and box that answer. Boop, boop, boop. X equals 16. 16 equals X, same thing. Great. Check, check. Example 2. We have here -1 equals P plus 1 divided by 14. Now, here, I want to point out that this big division bar, we have an implied parenthesis here. So we're going to go ahead and put that in parentheses. So parentheses comes last. So in this case, there is no adding and subtracting. That adding and subtracting is inside the parentheses. So we have to start with multiplication or division. So what's the opposite of divide by 14? Well, multiply both sides by 14 so that you can cancel out that and bring down the P plus 1. And when you bring it down, you do not have to write the parentheses anymore. 14 times -1 is -14. Okay, so multiplication, division, check. We don't have any exponents. So then lastly, we have here is the stuff that's in parentheses, which is a plus P plus 1. The opposite of plus 1 is minus. Subtract 1 from both sides. -14 minus 1 is -15. Be sure to use your calculator. Don't want to make any mistakes with our positives or negatives, so use your calculator. P equals -14. Box that answer. Awesome job. One more example. Are we ready? Example 4. Okay. So here we have the square root of x plus 8 equals 4. So we want to remember here that we have this x plus 8 is inside of that parentheses. Okay. So that's another implied parenthesis. So no adding and subtracting first. Nothing's being multiplied or divided. What we have here, we have to deal with the square root, which falls under the exponents, and then the parentheses. So the opposite of a square root is a square, which is why this falls under the exponent part first. So to undo the square root, we have to square both sides. Okay? When you square both sides, the square root and the square cancels. Do not square the 8. Bring down x plus 8 equals 4 squared is 4 times 4, and 4 times 4 is 16. So now next, oops, my plus looks sloppy there. Okay, so now we did that. We squared both sides. So now we have x plus 8. So the opposite of plus 8 is minus. Subtract 8 from both sides. And we have x equals 8. That's my final answer. Box in. Okay, now are you ready to try a problem on your own? You try. Go ahead and pause the video. Write down this you try problem. Work it out on your notes and have your notes ready to turn in. Okay, don't forget, PEMDAS backwards.